In bag making, foam is the stabilizer that gives our bags lots of structure, helps them to stand up and gives them a pro finish. There are a few different options when it comes to foam. You can get fusible. This one is actually double-sided, although I recommend that you use singular-sided fusible foam if you're going to use fusible, and you can also get sew-in. On this video I'm going to show you how to use the sew-in style, because sometimes it's a little bit confusing as to how we actually add this into our projects. When it comes to choosing whether to use sew-in foam or fusible foam, one of the choices may be because you are using a fabric for your outer part of your bag which cannot have heat applied to the outside. A lot of vinyls are okay, or faux leathers are okay to have heat applied, so you can check depending on which one you're using, but you may choose to use sew-in foam also to stop it delaminating, which can happen over time. It's actually what's happened to the bottom of this bag. You can see here it has been shoved in a bag where it's creased, and it just looks a little bit unsightly with those creases in place. You can see a bit more on the back there. That is partly due to the interfacing delaminating and the stabilizer to the foam that I have used, and I have used the fusible foam for this project. So that is why we may want to choose to use sew-in foam. So how to apply it? You're going to cut out your pattern piece. You're going to cut out the same size that you need in your foam as well. What's quite nice about the foam is that it's quite kind of textured. It's got like a pile to it, so it does stick to your outer fabric quite nicely. I find that you don't need to have too many clips or pins to attach it before you sew. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to sew it in place all the way around the outside, and we're going to use a smaller seam allowance than what is included in our pattern. So for this pattern piece it's a 0.7 centimetre or 7mm seam allowance, or around about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do it a couple of millimetres in from the edge, or around about 1/8 inch. And I'm using a long basting stitch to sew this on. Once that's sewn in place, we are then going to cut off that edge just to create less bulk in the seam allowance. Another thing you can do as well is to actually zigzag around the edge. That creates a nice edge. Obviously it's going to stop your fabric fraying, but it creates less bulk with that foam on the edge, and that is what we're trying to get rid of. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these curved scissors. You don't have to use curved scissors, but they does make life a little bit easier. And I'm going to place them between the outer fabric and the top of the foam, or the back of your project. And I'm just making small little snips, being careful as I go that I don't cut, obviously, the outer fabric. And if you do end up snipping through your basting stitches, can sometimes happen, like I've literally just done there. Don't worry too much. Remember, this is basting. It's not going to completely unravel. You are going to be having your structural seam to keep it really strong and in place, so it's not the end of the world. The main thing is that we're cutting this foam at an angle to create less bulk, like I say. Okay, so you can see that it's going down to nothing on the edges of the pattern now. And I just wanted to show you with a slightly deeper seam allowance. It does make life a little bit easier, and it's going to keep it out of the seam allowance even more. You may find that this is adding a little bit too bulk to your projects, and that is why the fusible foam is a good alternative and probably more preferable for a lot of you, because if you use fusible foam you can cut it right down so that it's completely out of your seam allowance. That's going to help it to go through your machine a lot easier, and your machine won't shout at you for going through all those layers, which is inevitable when it comes to bag making. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off all the other pattern pieces for my next project. If you found this useful, please do hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more bag making tips and tricks. I also go live every Thursday at 8 PM back here on this channel. I hope to see you there. Take care. I'll see you on the next video.